All right, so Konami dropped a Player of the Week Raphinha with through passing. And I'm not even going to lie, this is one of those cards that doesn't look crazy at first glance, but once you actually understand how he plays in game, yeah, this might be one of the most underrated wingers we've gotten in a while, because when people see Raphinha, they're thinking pace, dribbling, maybe some flair on the wing. But this version is different. This is not just a typical winger. This is a creator hiding in a winger's body. And that changes everything about how you use him. Because now instead of just hugging the touchline and spamming crosses, you're actually unlocking something way more dangerous, and it all starts with that through passing skill. Because if you've played eFootball long enough, you already know that through passing is one of the most broken mechanics when used correctly, and giving that ability to a prolific winger like Raphinha, yeah, Konami knew exactly what they were doing here, because now he's not just running down the wing, he's actively looking for those killer balls in behind, those passes that split the defense completely. And when you combine that with his stats, that's when things get interesting. Because let's actually break it down properly. His speed is 89 and acceleration is 88. And I know some people might look at that and say, that's not super fast. But in game, this is more than enough. Especially for a winger who relies on timing rather than just raw pace. He's quick enough to beat most fullbacks. And more importantly, he feels responsive. Like when you make those quick directional changes, he doesn't feel sluggish. And that's where his balance of 83 and dribbling stats come into play. 88 ball control, 88 dribbling, 85 tight possession. That's a very clean combo. It's not elite like some of the absolute top-tier dribblers, but it's smooth, it's consistent, and that's what you want. Because you're not trying to dance past 5 defenders with Raphinha. You're trying to create space, and once you create that space, that's when the magic happens. Because his passing is actually the most surprising part of this card. 79 low pass and 78 lofted pass doesn't scream playmaker, but when you add the through passing skill into the equation, it completely changes how those stats feel in game. Because now his passes have that extra precision, that extra sharpness, and you start noticing that he's threading balls through tight gaps that other wingers simply can't. And this is where he becomes dangerous, because defenders don't expect it. They're focused on stopping the run, they're focused on blocking the dribble, and suddenly, boom, one through pass and your striker is clean through on goal. And that's the kind of impact that doesn't always show up in stats, but it wins you matches. Now let's talk about his attacking awareness at 83, and this is actually very important for a prolific winger, because it determines how he positions himself off the ball. And honestly, 83 is decent. It's not insane, but it's enough for him to make smart runs, especially when you're playing quick passing football. He won't always be perfectly positioned, but when you combine his movement with manual control, you can still get a lot out of him. And this is where his playstyle really comes into play. Prolific winger means he's naturally going to stay wide, stretch the defense, and look for opportunities to either cut inside or deliver the ball. And with this version of Raphinha, cutting inside becomes way more effective. Because now you're not just looking to shoot, you're looking to create, you're looking to slide that perfect through pass into your striker. And that unpredictability makes him so hard to defend against, because your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do next. Are you going to dribble? Are you going to cross? Or are you going to split the defense with a through ball? And that hesitation, that's all you need at high-level gameplay. Now, of course, this card is not perfect, and we need to talk about the weaknesses as well, because that's what really determines whether he's worth using or not. And the first thing that stands out is his physical contact at 74, which is, yeah, not great. This is not a winger who's going to bully defenders. If anything, it's the opposite. Stronger fullbacks will push him off the ball if you're not careful, so you need to play smart. You need to avoid unnecessary physical battles, use his agility, use his movement, and don't try to force things, because that's when you'll start losing possession. And another weakness is his jumping at 60, which basically means forget about aerial duels. He's not winning headers, he's not contributing in the air. So if your playstyle involves crossing to the far post for your winger, this is not the card for that, but realistically, that's not what you're using Raphinha for anyway. So it's not a huge issue, it's just something to be aware of. And then there's his stamina at 84, which is decent, but not amazing. He can last most of the game, but if you're constantly sprinting, constantly pressing, you might notice him getting tired towards the end, so you either manage his energy or have a backup option on the bench. Now let's talk about his shooting, because this is another area where he's okay, but not crazy. His kicking power is 88, which is solid. It means he can hit decent shots, especially from outside the box. But he's not a primary goal scorer. You're not relying on him to carry your attack in terms of finishing. His role is more about creating chances rather than finishing them. And if you try to force him into a goal-scoring role, you might be a bit disappointed. But if you use him correctly, if you treat him as a creator, that's when you start seeing his true value. And this brings us to the most important question. Is this card actually worth it? And honestly, for what he offers, especially if you're someone who enjoys quick passing, through balls and dynamic attacking play, This Raphinha is 100% worth considering.